AI agents are the best thing to sell right now if you want to make no money and blend it with the other thousands of people who are trying to sell generic AI business solutions. I'm gonna show you the problems that comes into selling AI agents and why beginners, but even more intermediate and advanced entrepreneurs shouldn't actually go into this kind of business model that everybody's advertising. Now, if you can't watch this video for 15 minutes and you want to go out there selling this kind of AI business automation solutions, well, good luck, because you're probably not gonna make it. But for all of you who are serious about making money online, let's get into it and let's try to understand how to make real money online. Let's try to understand the fundamentals of the AI automation business model and why it's not for beginner and why there's like a huge paradox and huge existential problems in this kind of business. So first of all, what does AI automation mean? I know it can seem like obvious, but it's not that obvious, because the scope of services is extremely broad. You can build whatever in AI automation, but if you think about it, every micro product or service that you can build has its own product market fit. For example, you can build chatbots, content generators, AI SDR, reporting, you can build a task manager, CRM enrichment. So you have thousands of things you can actually build. You don't have product market fit. You're not already in a market where there's a lot of demand. And this makes everything 10,000 harder. For example, in terms of marketing, how do you attract the right client? You have to find product market fit every time. You have to advertise new things every time. You don't really know who you're selling to. In terms of sales, it's even worse, because you have to create new sales assets and proposal every time. It's difficult to actually assess and understand how much time in terms of delivery it will take, so it's even very hard to make the pricing. It really reminds me about software development agency. I know you're not building code from scratch, but you are extremely broad. You don't even know what are the problems you are selling. And this is very tough, because I did a lot of outbound lead gen, and the first clients I suggest not to serve are software development agency. Why? Because it's impossible to fulfill for them, because by definition they do not have market fit. They scale with relationship, but if you are at the really beginning trying to figure out a lot of things, you don't have relationship. You have to figure out market fit every time. You have to build new marketing assets every time. You have to find new angles. You have to build new collaterals in terms of proposal, in terms of presentations. Not to talk about delivery. Delivery is crazy. Actually, you have a friend trying to run this kind of a business model. It's like every week is trying to learn a new thing, a new automation, and then make, and then an A10, and then another thing again. The problem is you can't productize a product or a service this way, where you can actually leverage your time and extract more money from the market. You're at the beginning. You're not building anything. You're not getting feedback loops. It's very hard to actually go to market this way and actually make a lot of profit without burning out. Starting from the right business model can totally change anything. Putting the same focus, the same concentration, the same hour of time and effort in a business model that is easy and in a business model that is hard, it results to a totally different result. So be smart. Just put the time in things that are proven to work, not in something that you have to reinvent every time, where you have actually no compound of interest in learning, in more skills, in relationship, in being the expert in the same angle of the internet and niche expertise. Let's dive in all the specific problems about marketing, sales, and delivery. So first, the scope is very broad, so it's extremely tough to actually make it. To be fair, the easiest way to actually attract client is by positioning yourself in the internet, producing content, attracting like-minded client. The nicher you are, the easier it is usually to actually getting clients. The scope is very broad. You are talking to everybody, which means you are talking to nobody. Secondly, this is what nobody is actually saying, but 99% of businesses are small. They have no processes. The only problem they actually have is they don't have enough clients. Like you, basically. exactly that you are listening. So there's nothing to automate. There's not an overflow of leads that you can actually automate. The only problem that is really perceived is more meetings, more revenue, better marketing, better spending in general. It can be good if you're selling to very big companies, but there's a paradox. If you're a beginner and you're trying selling to Apple, you're trying to sell to RBME, you're trying to sell whatever big company, you're not credible. You have to start from the really beginning, making the first $1,000, becoming a millionaire, creating actually a successful agency, and then you can actually go enterprise, trying to attract big clients, and you can sell, yes, AI automation that works, but on a very big client's environment, where as junior guy with no experience, it's impossible to get there. This is why I'm telling you there are easier things to do at the beginning of your career or when you are developing a new skill to actually make good money and create a very good life for yourself and your family than going enterprise, which is heavy lifting of business in general. Third, attracting clients problem, which is huge, especially if you're at the beginning. Secondly, it's extremely hard to sell. Attracting those companies, it's way harder. The difference between attracting small to medium businesses and enterprise businesses, you need 10x the effort, and a lead usually costs 10x more if you're spending in advertising. And the sales cycle are longer. It means that if you start today, to actually close a big company can take 8 months. And then, what are you doing in the next 8 months if you have no income? This is the problem selling to big companies, selling to enterprise. Every time you create a proposal, you have to guess the time you need to fulfill, because again, the scope of the problem is very broad, and every time you have to reinvent yourself because you don't even know how the environment, the back end of your client actually looks like and which system you actually have to implement or your technology. Third, most of the time, so you don't even know, but you are competing against already built SaaS that sells for $200 per month. Let's say that you are building an AI chatbot, a CRM enricher. If the problem is known enough, there's already another founder who applied good economy of scale and actually built a SaaS. So your $29,000 implementation now is substituted by a $29 per month SaaS with economy of scale and a team of developers. This is the huge problem. So you are basically competing for big companies in a unique situation where SaaS do not apply. Yeah, it can be lucrative with huge business, but it's extremely difficult to actually make it, especially for a beginner. Third, we have delivery. You have to learn a new tool, and there's of course a learning curve. So to actually deliver will take more and more. It's very, very difficult to productize. It means that it's very difficult to have high margins. It's very, very difficult to hire and create processes. If you're building a cold email agency, you're looking for new people that are expert in cold email. If you land a new client, you're looking for someone who's expert in Make. And tomorrow you close a new client, you have to hire someone else instead of the same guy because he needs to know something like Java rather than N8N or something else. So let's move to the section where we can try to understand how not to reinvent the wheel, but just execute on what it's already working, because we have to pretend we are stupid and only follow what is working and actually use our creativity to do better. But let's start from things that are simple. How can I narrow down the scope of work in terms of attracting clients, closing clients, and delivery? The hottest niche in the world, in my opinion, right now is selling Clay services. Clay is basically a sales ops automation platform where you can streamline any kind of data operation, data sourcing, scraping, outbound, sales, and revenue operation in general. But you always build everything in the platform without actually touching the code, where you already have a lot of demand from the market, just calling yourself a go-to-market engineer or the Clay guy. Because if you sell a revenue operation service, you are selling something that's connected to revenue. It's very easy to prove that you can actually generate money. The easiest thing to sell here is outbound, which is a problem everybody has, from smaller to medium to big businesses. You can charge a lot of money and it's very easy to understand. And third, in terms of delivery, it's 10x easier, because in my case, the scope of the problem, it's always, I only touch Clay. I don't go away from this kind of platform. And on Clay, actually, you have any kind of AI agent. You just connect all the data, create the use case, and deliver deliver it. I've made a lot of videos about it, but with really a couple of clicks, you can get the information about the companies, they get the information about the traffic, use AI agents such as the Clay agent or GPT. You can use build with to actually get information. You can connect everything to make. You can connect everything to Smart Lead and send cold emails. You can connect everything to Slack and actually streamline internal communication. Basically, it's a platform where you have all the AI agents on top of it. If you follow my content, especially on LinkedIn, you will know that I basically position myself as the go-to-market engineer, where I talk about Clay go-to-market engineering use cases, and there's already a lot of interest about these use cases from small to huge companies, because Clay is probably one of the biggest founding round of 2025. A lot of executives are thinking about implementing Clay, but there's a huge gap of the market because nobody or very few people is actually able to implement this platform. But if you come from an AI agent background, it's actually easier to learn Clay. You can start attracting very high-level businesses, small businesses and medium businesses where everything is already built. You have to just copy and paste the offer that are proven to work. For example, in my case, guys, I really have 3 offers that I repeat every time. Every time is a copy and paste, and it works every single time. And in terms of delivery, I don't touch any kind of platform that does not have a one-click integration into Clay. I never touch code, I never do custom things, and this is why I was able to operationalize my business in the way it actually is right now, with almost no employees, but with a very high level of revenue. And by the way, what is the scope of the work in terms of Clay? You can solve different use cases. You can start with outbound, but there are inbound use cases, there are CRM use cases, there are conferences use cases. And if you check my website, clayoperator.com/program, you actually have the stories of many people who started from whatever kind of background and reinvented their career into clay.com, becoming system integrators, becoming consultants, becoming go-to-market engineers. People like Alessandro, people like Cody, people like Ismail from all over the world, and they built a very lucrative career just on this platform that already has a lot of demand. A very simple example is my client, now is even a friend, which is called Alessandro, that in a country like Italy, he built his own Clay agency. He went over my 6 weeks Clay program. He really understood technology, and now he has an agency that is making $500,000 per year in just a year and a half. Why? Because he found the right business model. He found something that was already proven. Of course, he's a smart guy and he was able to implement everything, but he just executed on things that were already working and without overcomplicating all the stuff. He's not a developer. He didn't actually have to reinvent the wheel every time, trying to learn a new tool, new language, new technology, creating new marketing assets, and trying to attract huge companies. If you really want to build your agency and ride the AI wave, just do it the right way. Do not overcomplicate, do not reinvent the wheel, and niche down on a single platform that already has demand. And what I usually suggest if you want to actually accelerate this kind of learning curve is checking clayoperator.com, and especially clayoperator.com/program, which is my website, where basically I put together with all my years in the trenches a program that can actually accelerate your career with one-to-one coaching with me. It's not a webinar, it's not a cohort where there are some random generic information, but in this case I really work one-to-one with you. I show you all my processes, we build things in practice, I give you my agency routines to actually get new clients, I give you all the processes to actually land clients, manage clients, making them happy and actually build a lucrative business. 6 weeks with me that you will get access to a community of peers where you can really accelerate your learning with guaranteed clients and gigs from my own network. I have a huge personal brand right now, from YouTube, from LinkedIn, from a newsletter. I have a lot of gigs. I can share some of these gigs, and if you're fit, if you are hardworking, if you want to make a serious impact in the world and you're serious about building integrations, apply, check the link in the description. I accept very few people, and actually launch your career in this very fast growing trend, which is called go-to-market engineering, engineering and building Clay systems in general. If this is not convincing enough, that's fine. I have a lot of free content. You can just copy my videos, learn Clay for yourself. If you check in the description, you will even find a link where you can actually start using Clay for free with 3,000 free Clay credits. And if you want to check this video, I practically break down my career from 9 to 5 to actually becoming a Clay operator and earning $53,000 per month implementing Clay services. Good luck on whatever you will decide to do, and see you in the next one.